Our life plan in place, of course, we're talking about our adventures at water parks.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
that's my claim to fame.
Right,
you think, hey, Notre Dame, Georgetown, big deal. I slayed the Silver Dragon at Great Wolf Lodge.
So there
you go.
Add that to your credits, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you had any other, if you were wondering why, and actually I have to admit, it was a team effort. It was my wife Lily and I, we combined, because you have to remember these things in sequence. So she did the first 5, I did the last 2, and I shook the wand at the dragon. So
I'll have to check that out. I'm not really completely familiar, but all right, I'm sure a lot of families know exactly what you're talking about. But some families that don't know what they're talking about is how to get their life plan in place, right?
Yes.
And that's where you come into play, because
no magic wands involved, though.
No. Lots of dragons, though.
That's true.
Well, we have dinosaurs here with us today. But let's start with the first one. So my sister had my mother sign a durable power of attorney in selling the house.
Yeah, the thing
Explain that one.
The thing here is, Mom had dementia when she had the kid sign the power of attorney. Now, a diagnosis of dementia does not mean that you can't sign a power of attorney, but come on. In fact, for a lot of families, the diagnosis is the thing that moves them to say, hey, we've got to get things in place.
Yeah.
So you can still sign a power of attorney even though you've got a diagnosis, but you have to make sure that the person is oriented, time, place, person, and all the rest. In this email, what was going on was the sister was selling the house, which is probably okay under a power of attorney, but then she was giving 2/3 of the money to herself, the sister, and the brother, and leaving the letter writer out in the cold. Well, okay, bad enough, right? But what's even worse is that Mom has dementia, and Alzheimer's dementia, and what if Mom needs long-term care now, and you sold the house and you gave the money away? Well, what that means is Medicaid's not paying for you. So who's going to pay? Nobody. What happens then is the nursing home is going to sue Mom, and Mom says, hey, I've got nothing, right, because it's all gone. And then what they're going to do is they're going to go after the kids. One of the things that they do this all the time, they'll sell it, but the nursing, it's not the state that's going to go after the house. It's not the state of Michigan that's going to go after. It's the nursing home that's going to sue Mom and then trace the money back to the kids. Then the kids are going to get it. Whereas you could have held on to the house.
All right, let's talk about this next one. My mother needs to sell her house to help pay for assisted living. Her husband, not my father, who's on the deed, does not want to sell.
Again, we've got a case. We've got someone with a diagnosis, got dementia, got some issues, right? And now we're going to sell the house. I'm not saying it's always the worst, terrible, awful, bad, no good, very bad strategy, but usually it is. And in this case, the fact that Dad refuses to sell, or the husband, who's not the father, refuses to sell is actually a good thing, because again, Medicaid is not just, people think Medicaid, oh, it's nursing home only. It's not. There are programs for at-home care, there are programs for assisted living, adult foster care, all the way up to the skilled nursing. So in this case, not selling the house, again, probably, you got to look at the facts, but it's probably a good idea not to sell.
All right, well, is a lawyer required to do a very basic full power of attorney?
I kind of love this question, because it's, do I need a lawyer? Well, no, you don't need a lawyer. Guess what? You don't need a plumber or a mechanic or a super-duper chef either. I mean, you don't need, okay? Can you do it yourself? Is it possible to do it yourself? Yeah, it's possible to do it. And I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I am. Probably, but I leave electricity alone.
Right.
Everything else I'm cool with.
One we don't mess with.
But it's the same with this stuff. Everybody wants things to be easy. Everything wants to be simple. And there are some people there's some people with websites and what have you who are willing to tell you that the law is very simple, it's very easy, 20 minutes or less. Those are the people who wind up going broke. Those are the people who wind up losing everything, simply because it's not really that simple. Not when you scratch the surface. And one of the reasons we do these life plan workshops is just to kind of crack the door open a little bit. Something. You think it's, and the stories that you hear, the stories that people are willing to tell are usually the good news stories. All we had to do was this. All we had to do was, it was so simple. And it's like, people don't tell you the 90% of stories where it didn't. Do you know anyone who goes to the casino?
I'm guilty.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I mean, which experiences do you tend to talk about? I played them. Yeah,
yeah, of course. I don't talk about that often.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the losses, and so there's this idea out there that it really is so simple, and it's like, well, it can be, and I got to tell you, I mean, our whole effort is to make it as simple as possible. Not more simple, but as simple as possible. And like I say, that's why we do these workshops all the time, because it's a couple of hours. You're with people just like you, going through the same sorts of things you're going through, whether that's retirement or got a person in a long-term care facility or what have you. But it's very, it's very easy. It's no cost. It's free. But what it does when you come out of there, right? Now you've got a sense of what's going on.
And we have them right there on the screen. This Thursday, you'll be where?
Those are two in Grand Rapids.
Both in Grand Rapids. Okay, so it's 3 o'clock on the 6th, rather, and then Saturday the 15th at 11 a.m. right at your office? At
the office, right on the new office on Plainfield. Okay. Oh, and let me tell you something else we're doing. Some of the local car dealerships, the Chevys and the Cadillac, Harvey Cadillac and whatnot, they've agreed to bring some vehicles. So if you come to if you want to, right? After the workshop, there'll be cars you can, if you just want to check out a new car, they're not paying us anything. Well, it's just sort of a fun thing. I thought, well, I tell you what. We'll find out if it's a fun thing. Okay. I just thought it'd be a fun thing, just to, take a little,
Go ahead and reach out to me, you guys. Online is where the best way to sign up for those.
That's
you can call them toll free as well.
DavidCarrierLaw.com. That's the place to go.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you, Leanne.